2 days ago, I was ready to quit this whole YouTube and content creation thing. So frustrated. It took me probably 3 hours to try and shoot a single 30-second clip. 3 hours later and over 100 takes later, my battery died and I had nothing to show for all my work. Why is creating content so difficult? I see the content creators who I admire and I see them creating content and I think I could do it. I can see what I like. I can see what is good. But when I actually sit down and I try and create a video or I try and write, it doesn't come through. I'm not good enough at it yet. Anyway, this is leading up to today's video. And if you've watched this channel before, you know this is not my usual setup. So let me quickly jump over there and put the camera into the regular setup. And I'm gonna tell you what today's video is all about. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So this is the first video in a 12-part series all about the best advice of James Clear, who is the author of Atomic Habits, the best advice James Clear has for new and aspiring content creators. If you haven't seen it yet, you can watch the intro video that I made yesterday right here. And I will also be linking all of the episodes, all of the links and videos down in the description below. So going back to what happened 2 days ago, I was so frustrated, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you where you knew what you wanted to make, but when you sat down to actually do it, when you sat down to make it, you were not able to produce the quality that you were hoping for. You know, for me, I sat down to record and words were not coming, sentences were not coming together, the lighting was wrong, the camera placement was wrong, and after those 3 hours that I spent trying to shoot one 30-second video clip, I was so frustrated because I just felt like, am I just not good enough? Am I just not meant to do YouTube? Is this just something that is not in my skill set? And if you've ever felt that same way, then you, just like me, have come across what is called the taste gap. So when James Clear first started writing, he would look at authors and writers who he admired and people who he looked up to, and he would read their articles and he would read their blog posts and he would think to himself, I could do this too. But when he actually sat down to write, he found that it was much harder than he had anticipated. Things were just not coming so easily. And so there was this gap between what he knew was what he wanted to produce, the quality that he was striving for, his taste, and a gap between his taste and the skill set he actually had. And so Ira Glass, who is the host of This American Life, had one of the best pieces of advice about this, what he calls the taste gap. So if you are struggling, I want you to pay attention to this because it has really helped frame my concerns, my frustrations, and I'm hoping that it will do the same for you. So this is what Ira Glass says about the taste gap, and I think that it will help you just like it has helped me. Nobody tells people who are beginners, and I really wish somebody had told this to me, is that all of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste. But it's like, what you're making isn't so good, okay? So it's not great. It's really not that great. It's trying to be good. It has ambition to be good, but it's not quite that good. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, your taste is still killer. And your taste is good enough that you can tell when what you're making is kind of a disappointment to you. You know what I mean? A lot of people never get past that phase. A lot of people at that point, they quit. And the thing I would just like to say to you with all my heart is that everybody I know who does interesting creative work, they went through a phase of years where they had really good taste and they could tell that what they were making wasn't as good as they wanted it to be. They knew it fell short. It didn't have that special thing that we wanted it to have. And the thing I would say to you is everybody goes through that. And for you to go through it, if you're going through it right now, if you're just getting out of that phase, you gotta know it's totally normal. And the most important possible thing you can do is do a lot of work. Do a huge volume of work. Put yourself on a deadline so that every week or every month, you know you're going to finish one story. Because it's only by actually going through a volume of work that you are actually going to catch up and close that gap. And the work you're making will be as good as your ambitions. It takes a while. It's going to take you a while. It's normal to take a while. And you just have to fight your way through that, okay? Wow, that was so powerful for anyone who has felt like what they are doing is just not good enough. If you have ever sat down to write, to create, to draw, and you were so frustrated because you knew what you wanted to make, but you just didn't have the skills yet, this advice is a lifesaver. And this is why I think so many of us, so many content creators, they quit way too early in their career. They try something, they try a skill set, they try to create content, and they see their favorite creators doing it. So they think, well, if they could do it, I could do it too. But then when you actually sit down and try, it is so painful. It is so hard. It is like pulling teeth, and you get frustrated. You get angry that what you know should be happening, what you know that you want to create is just not coming out. And so it's so easy to get discouraged by this gap between our taste and our skill set. But what's important to remember is that the only way to get through it, the only way we can get through it together is to produce a lot of work. I really like Seth Godin's idea that quantity eventually leads to quality, and that the way to get good is by producing such a large volume of work that through every piece that you put out, every piece that you produce, every piece you create, you are improving little by little. And slowly over time, as you produce more and more of this work, you actually become good. Seth has this thing where he says, okay, so you tell me you are a bad photographer. Show me your 1,000 bad photographs. And the idea is that if you do any skill for 1,000 times, if you take photos, 1,000 bad photos, you will get better from the first photo you took to the last photo you took. And so when you are struggling, when you are worried about your quality, about your skill set, when you feel you're just not good enough, remember, that's okay. The key is to approach it as practice. Remember that your first pieces, first 100 or 50 or 1,000 of content, your first works of art, they will not be good. You will suck, and you will know that you suck because you have good taste. But just know that everyone started that way, and that can give you a little bit of a breather. It can give you a little bit of a break so that when you're in the middle like me and you're thinking about how bad your content is compared to everyone who you admire, just remember that this is a normal starting point, and you can and will get better as long as you do one thing and one thing only. And that one thing is do not quit. Because if you quit, if you give up, if you stop, there is no more improvement. There is no more hope. And you will forever regret that decision. I hope that this was useful to you out there if you are struggling or have been struggling with creating. If you feel like you're not good enough, if you feel like you just don't have what it takes, I hope that this video makes you realize that it's okay, that you are on the right path, and as long as you keep walking step after step, you will get better. If you know someone who is working as a creative who needs to see this, share this video with them. If you want, I would love for you to comment down below and let me know what you thought. If you are struggling, let me know down below. As I said, this is video 1 of a 12-part series where I break down and share my biggest takeaways from an interview that James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, did with Polina Marinova. In addition to these videos, I'm also posting all of this on my Twitter at Mark Spuntov, which you can check out here. And there I'm going into a more condensed format. So if you don't have time to watch these videos, but you still want to follow along, follow me on Twitter at Mark Spuntov, and you'll be able to see day by day for the next 12 days all of the different posts and ideas that I share. In tomorrow's post and video, we are going to be looking at whether it is too late to start, whether the market is oversaturated for creatives. A lot of people ask whether YouTube is oversaturated, whether Instagram is oversaturated, TikTok. Tomorrow we're going to be looking into this, and we are going to be diving deep into that question. If you enjoyed this video, if you would like to see more, check out my channel and subscribe down below. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and I look forward to seeing all of you here tomorrow. Until then, stay well and stay creative. Bye.